Okay. So Siri is saying recording in progress. So I think we're good. Just looking. We are good. Okay. So for those of you that are hopping on to catch this replay, welcome. I am here with the beautiful Melissa Sherman, and I am super excited to have her on today. Oh gosh, let me introduce you as I know you, because there's so many titles that you hold. But we met years ago through mutual friends, really, in our small town, which really it's bigger than I think it is, but it feels so small because everybody knows everybody. But we met through doing different companies, MLMs, and really just kind of got to know each other and had like a fun time in each other's space. And Melissa's always been an inspiration. You have, I was going to say 3 little kiddos. They're not little, but 3 kiddos. And when we met, I think I had just had my first, maybe.
Yes.
And I just remember looking up to you and being inspired by you and all you had done and were doing as a mama and as a business owner. It was amazing to watch you soar and just be like so confident and powerful and just do your thing. And it was really awesome to see. So that is how we originally met. And we've just kind of gone in similar circles ever since. And I had approached you recently and said, hey, would you like to kind of tell your story and connect again? And you've been through so many things in the last, I don't know, handful of years, really, all while building new businesses. Your husband going back to school, graduating, getting this new career, your kids going off to college and graduating, like craziness. So I would love for you to tell what's on your heart today and inspire my side of the world.
Wow. All right. That's like open-ended, just who knows where this could go? Who knows what's going to come out of my mouth? But I really think that, well, thank you, first of all, for asking me to be on here, because I was very honored and touched when you sent me that message. So thank you. But I really think that, I mean, there's been a lot. I could sit on here for hours and talk to you about everything, but I think the biggest thing that I'd love to just share about and talk about with my journey is everything through the breast cancer, and just what happened through that, and how I kind of lost my way and how I'm now back on my way. I feel like whether someone's listening because they've gone through a cancer or breast cancer or just a hardship in general, I really truly feel that the experiences that every individual on this planet are given in their life, we can really create opportunity to help other people. And that was one thing that I really, after getting through the whole blow of hearing, yeah, you have cancer, and trying to figure out, okay, is this going to end me? Or am I going to make it through this? Because you don't know at first. I pretty much vowed to myself to say, okay, there's always a purpose from pain. There's always a reason for everything. So get through what you need to get through and inspire the heck out of people on the way. Mm-hmm. So some people are very private, and I am not one of those people, because I truly feel like my whole just personality is find connections, meet people, network with people, try and just make connections, whether it's through kids or jobs or experiences. And I just said to myself, you know what? There's going to be someone that you're going to meet because of this, and you're going to make a new friend out of it. I love to make friends. And so, and it's kind of crazy, I've made a lot of friends throughout this journey. So anyways, I was diagnosed at the age of 40 with invasive lobular carcinoma. And crazy, how I actually found it was I was shaving my legs in the shower. Totally weird. You don't think that that's like a normal thing, but I threw my leg up on the side of the shower stall and I started shaving my legs. And the way that my arm hit my right side, I could feel that something wasn't right there. So I was like, okay, that doesn't feel right. But you know, as women, I feel like what have we always heard our entire lives? Oh, she felt a lump. Did you find a lump? Did you feel a lump? Everything was surrounded around this word lump. It was not a lump at all. It was just felt like hard and thick. So I'm like, okay, they've always told me I have dense tissue. It's probably just something like that. So I felt like the other side, and I'm like, yeah, I think it's on the other side too. No, it wasn't. I knew it wasn't, but I was trying to tell myself that it was.
Yeah.
And this was a Tuesday night. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say anything to anyone. I'm just going to wait this out and I'm going to see what happens with this. And now you also know, I mean, maybe you know, but as growing up, what did you always hear? Oh, you lay down and you put your arm up and then you feel. Okay. Well, when I did that, I felt absolutely nothing. It was only when I was standing up. So I'm like, okay, yeah, this is nothing, you know, because if there was really something there, it would be there whether I was standing up or laying down. Wrong. So fast forward 2 days, I open up Facebook, and you know how you see like pretty much the same people on your Facebook every time you open it?
Algorithm, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I pulled up Facebook and I saw a post from a girl that I went to high school with that literally I haven't seen anything about her in 5 years. Didn't even know how many kids she had, nothing. And bam, there, and she wasn't a regular poster, but she was a poster. So all of a sudden opens up and there's a picture with her and her head shaved, and she's talking about this is her breast cancer journey. She had been battling breast cancer for months at the time that she decided to post. She just felt on her heart that she had to post and share to help somebody else. And now, again, another reason why I have made my journey so public, because I stopped keeping track when I hit 20 women that had told me after I shared on social media that I had breast cancer, of 20 women messaging me saying they've made an appointment, they had been putting it off or whatever. So truly, that's another reason why I share. And also, do you hear the lawnmower? I watched your other
right now. I was like, the audacity of these.
I watched your other interview, and like as soon as you started talking, you're like, I'm gonna have to close my window because the lawnmower. Yep, here's my neighbor. Okay, sorry.
It's fine.
So I'm like, okay, this is like she's 40 years old, you know, like this is a sign I need to make an appointment. I cannot put this, you know, to the side. So
it's so funny. I hate to like cut you off, but just to like, it's not funny, but it's ironic, I guess, the way the universe works. And when like, you know, like they say when you say something into your phone, or like if you like, I went on my computer and ordered something on Amazon, right? And now I'm on Facebook and I'm scrolling and I see right. So it's like the algorithm of everything connecting. You didn't say anything, but like the way that your energy put it out into the universe of like, is this a thing? Is it not? And that was the universe being like, yes, it's a freaking thing. Like, oh, it's.
I mean, I hadn't even Googled anything. I hadn't Googled anything. I hadn't looked anything up. And yet her post appeared. I tell her all the time that she saved my life because I know I would have gone to the doctor eventually, but I don't know how long eventually would have been. It could have been months. It could have been years. You know, we get busy, and especially I feel like as moms of busy kids, we totally put ourselves on the back burner. So I don't know how long it would have been until I finally called the doctor, but I called the doctor. This was a Saturday. I saw this post and I called the doctor on Monday and they got me in on Friday. Well, fast forward to Friday, I go in for my regular not all regular mammogram. It was a diagnostic mammogram, but they took a regular picture. And again, this is why it's so important for us to do self-exams and to really understand what's normal and what's not, because the regular mammogram picture didn't pick up my tumor. So after they did the regular picture, they said, can you show us exactly where this spot is? Because we're not seeing anything. So I showed them, they put a special sticker on it and kind of flipped me a little bit of a different way and then took a different picture. And I mean, I'm standing in the room and I could see it. I'm like, oh, there's definitely something there. Yeah. So they brought me into an ultrasound room to meet with the doctor, and the doctor's like asking me all these questions. Did you have a trauma? Did you get hit there? And I'm thinking, I mean, not that I can remember, you know, I don't play any crazy sports or anything, so it's not like something would have hit me. So I can still picture this whole experience just haunts me to this moment. Is I'm laying there and you have the ultrasound technician and you have the doctor, and she puts the ultrasound thing on, and I can see the way that they looked at each other.
Yeah.
And I just was like, this isn't good. Now, I didn't even tell you, I didn't tell anyone except for my best friends that I even had this appointment. My husband had no idea. My mom had no idea. I'm like, I'm not telling anyone because there's probably nothing wrong and I'm not going to worry people.
Right.
Wrong. So I'm like, okay, I can see your faces. So what's going on? You know, they said, well, it's not a cyst because there's no fluid, and it's not a fibroid because it has jagged edges. So I'm thinking, okay, well then what is it? You know, she took the ultrasound thing off. She put her hand on my shoulder and she's like, I need you to prepare yourself that this is cancer. I'm like, wait, me? No. Because again, it's not like I'm ever thinking of like, okay, I want this to happen to somebody else. You don't think like that. You just don't ever think you yourself are going to be experiencing something like this. So I instantly have a complete emotional breakdown, and I'm just sobbing because where do our minds go? Our minds go from like 0 to 100 in 0.5 seconds. So I'm thinking, my kids are going to have no mother. I'm going to die. Of course, this is happening to me because I'm the only one with life insurance. So Matt's going to make out like a bandit with this, you know, and like, how am I going to tell my mom? And oh my gosh, I feel like I still have so much life left to live. What is going on? You know, like this can't be happening to me. So anyways, fast forward, they do the biopsy. One thing I have learned through this whole journey is I don't really have a lot of patience, and waiting. There's so much waiting with this journey, waiting for test results, waiting for appointments, waiting for answers. So that's huge of like, where I feel like leaning on friends, leaning on family, and just praying. I prayed so much. And now I still have to remember, like, okay, even though things are good right now, I can't stop doing that too. Like, sorry, God, I'm still here and I'm still praying to you, but just not 24/7 like I was before. I don't know if you can see in my office, but those are all Bible verses that were given to me from people that I put on my chalkboard and prayed over all the time. So that truly helped me as well. But anyway, so find out it's cancer, go through the whole, you know, doctor's appointments. And what's so crazy, they thought this had been growing for 6 to 12 months. Like that's how long it was actually there. So again, I'm just kind of like, this is absolutely insane, because how did I just feel it? Why mine didn't form a lump, didn't even know. There's 2 different types of cancer. There's cancer in your ducts and there's cancer in your lobes. And what I had was the cancer in your lobes, and it grows like, think of tree branches, long and like out. So when I laid down, I felt nothing because it's spread out. And when I stood up, it was a little bit more together. And why it wasn't a lump is because it was just a hard, long spot. So who knew? Didn't know that 2 things even existed like that. So anyways, you know, just going through, well, first of all, you know, the crazy thing is when I actually announced it on Facebook, I couldn't even like comment back to people because more comments just kept coming through. It was insane the support I felt through Facebook. And, you know, it was, and then the parade that my one friend organized for me, everyone's comments to me are like, oh, you're the strongest person I know. And I'm like, man, I don't feel that at all. I feel like I am the weakest, biggest baby right now, I had a really, really hard time. So people see me as strong and fierce and confident, and I was not. I was anything but that. And then as I started getting a little bit more answers and I started seeing all the support from Facebook and had that parade, I'm like, wow, this is where I thought I've always wanted to do things on my own. I've always wanted to be like, don't worry, I don't need any help. I got this. And I'm like, I have to change that mentality right now. I cannot do this alone. And I leaned on my friends, I leaned on my family. And honestly, being able to post and share this journey through social media was actually like healing for me, to be able to just be myself, say what I want to say, and put it out there. It actually, I felt like, helped me heal. And what so many people on social media didn't see were the private messages that I was getting. Women that were going through completely different things, but they were like, I'm reading your post and I'm feeling more strong in my situation because of it. And I'm like, wow, there's just so many people out here that are going through things. And as much as I have a love-hate relationship with social media because it sucks my time, but also I'm obsessed with it because, I mean, even though you and we haven't sat down and talked in years and years and years, we talked for like 20 minutes before we even started this.
I know.
Because with social media, I still feel connected to people. So anyways, I don't know. I digress. I got off on a tangent about social media, but anyways, I felt very just strong and everything as I was making decisions. I had an option. I didn't have any genetics come back positive, so I had an option on what surgery I wanted to do. No one could ever prepare you for how you would feel after you have a double mastectomy. And that is one thing I didn't realize until it actually happened to me. So, so many times I remember hearing of other people having breast cancer as I was growing up, even in my young adult years. And I remember being the person saying, if I ever got breast cancer, I would chop my boobs off, no problem, not even think anything of it. Totally different when it's you. Totally different when you're actually faced with that. And then, after waking up and going through everything, what an emotional disaster, roller coaster. I mean, anyone even going through it before me, no matter what they said, could have never prepared me for what you actually feel when you see it on yourself. I'm extremely thankful that we even have a surgery to be able to take care of breast cancer, because there's there's cancers out there that are inoperable, Right. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for doctors that allow you to really kind of put yourself back together. I'm thankful for this amazing girl in Canandaigua that owns her own tattoo shop that tattoos 3D nipples. Sometime when we're not recording on Zoom, I'll show you. I'm very open. My husband's like, okay, so now that you have these 3D nipples, I know you're going to show everybody. Just please don't lift up your shirt in like Wegmans to show somebody. I'm like, I won't. I promise.
I love that.
But I had, like, my girlfriends have been huge rocks through this entire journey. And when I had scheduled my tattoos, I don't know if you saw on Facebook, but they're like, we have to have a reveal party. And so it was just nice to kind of have like closure, then you don't just, when you look at yourself, you don't just see two huge scars going across your chest. Like, you actually feel like a woman, So yeah, but anyways, throughout all this, I had my business close from COVID. It was the jewelry business that I had been part of for 12 years. It was my livelihood. It was my full-time job. And so that was, I mean, if anything could come at a perfect time, it came at a perfect time because I was just about to start chemo. I wasn't doing anything anyways. So it really allowed me to just kind of say, focus on you and you'll figure out what you're going to do after cancer. Everything.
Mind you, this whole thing is happening during COVID.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So
let's just throw that on top of this journey.
I totally even forgot about that. So
you're in the middle of a goddamn pandemic and you're like, oh, and I have to go through all of this stuff during a pandemic. So
yeah,
like
and alone. Alone.
Alone. Couldn't have anybody in there with you.
Couldn't have anyone at the doctor's appointments, at the surgery. So when I was getting dropped off for the double mastectomy surgery, literally Matt dropped me off at the front door. Now, mind you, we had been quarantined for 3 weeks because we wanted to not get COVID,
right,
so that I could test negative and have surgery. We brought my college son home to quarantine with us.
Yep.
And little did we know, when we brought him home, he had COVID. And so I'm like, we literally just brought COVID into our home. Like, we are trying to avoid what I just brought into my home. I should have just left him at school.
Right.
He was completely asymptomatic. He quarantined himself in the basement, and a complete miracle that no one else in the house got COVID. And I was able to go as planned to surgery. And now the health department cleared him after like 10 or 14 days. He stayed in the basement for 22 days. He did not come up until I was literally on the operating table. My boy, he's a good boy. So yeah, so Matt dropped me off, and all that was completely on my own. But I was so relieved to just know I was having surgery. I literally like skipped into the hospital. I actually almost forgot to even say goodbye to Matt. I was just like, see you tomorrow. I'm getting this cancer out of me. We're getting done. And, I had like this whole, not that I plan out my posts, but sometimes I do. And I had this whole post planned of like how I was sad that I was there by myself and how I was so scared and blah, blah, blah. And that morning, I'm like, that post is not even anything of how I feel. I was so like, the sky was lit up pink. I took this picture outside the hospital. I'm just like,
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember the post. I have a vivid, I don't know why, but I have a vivid memory of that post.
The sky
was like, so, and you were like, this is the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, God is telling me, look at what I'm doing for you. Like, look at this gorgeous pink sky. The front of the hospital was lit up pink. And, I walked in and I was like, I am so ready. I felt all the prayers. I felt all the love. I felt strong. And then I think the hardest part was waking up in recovery, because I couldn't move my arms. No one can prepare you for like, God, this just really doesn't feel good. And I couldn't move my arms, and I'm in there by myself. And so I'm just like yelling for someone to come in the room. And then I turned a little sassy. And so I felt bad about that. But, I'm also like, this is why someone should be here with me. Like, I don't even have a call button in my arm, in my hand. And then, like I said earlier, I love networking and connecting with people. So of course I started asking the nurse questions. Well, wouldn't you know, she graduated from the college that my son is at right now. So we got talking about that. So I'm like, okay, I'm really sorry for being a little sassy pants, but I was a little upset that I was in here by myself and blah, blah, blah. So
coming off of anesthesia and I'm a mess.
Yeah. And I'm just like trying to figure out what the F just happened to me, So, so I was a little sassy, but it was okay because, stayed in the hospital overnight. The next day was Thanksgiving. And I'm like, so many people had said to me, my gosh, you're going to have to come home on Thanksgiving. Like, don't you want to push it out so that you can enjoy Thanksgiving? I'm like, what better way to come home on Thanksgiving, knowing the cancer is out of me? Like, what a day to celebrate. So I was like thrilled about that. But yeah, then I recovered from surgery. And so my tumor fed off my estrogen in my body. So I guess when it's a hormone positive tumor, they can test it and they can see what your risk of your cancer coming back. So even though I have no breast tissue, there's still a risk factor of somewhere else in my body a tumor starting to grow because it's feeding off of estrogen. So they did that test, and mine, if you're 20 or under, no chemo's needed. If you're 25 or higher, you get full blown chemo. Mine was 24. So I'm like, of course it's the gray area. All right. So I asked my oncologist, I'm like, I'm going to do whatever you recommend. And he said, the score is high enough that you would still benefit from chemo. I said, then let's do it. Because I don't want to look back years to come and have any type of regret. I don't want to ever, if I'm going to live with regret, I'm going to live with the regret of maybe I did too much, not, man, I really should have done more. Because I never want to go through this again. So we did chemo, and that was interesting. And after chemo was done, I got the expanders that were like expanding me back into, having a chest. Mm-hmm. And they took the expanders out, they put the implant in. And then it was like a couple weeks later, I started my hormone therapy. So I get injections, which is what I had earlier this week. And then I take a pill every single day that keeps my body from ever trying to create any estrogen. So I'm 100% full blown in menopause, which is why I carry my handy dandy fan everywhere I go, but it's also like, okay, yes, you're dealing with emotional scars, mental scars, physical scars, but I'm just so freaking thankful at the same time that there's even scars to be had, that there's even an opportunity to be able to say, we can take care of this. And so throughout this whole journey, even though I was very focused on like, just get me through it, I started connecting with other women that were walking through it or had already walked through it. And, you can have the most supportive family, friends, spouse, anything. But for me, it was a deal breaker for me to also have girls that had just gone through it, because it's like asking questions or things that I was feeling. It was like, bam, right then they knew exactly how they could help me. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to be this person for other people. And I feel like by sharing that on social media, I've been connected with women right now that I've never even met in person, but they came to me through like a mutual friend. And I've been able to talk to women on the phone or text with them, or drop off goodie bags for them, knowing what they're going to need after surgery. And to me, it actually, I feel like, even helps me heal even more to be able to talk now through what I know, they're about to go through. And this is such a crazy story. I was in this like nationwide breast cancer support group thing on Facebook. Like 80,000 people are in this.
Awesome.
And there was just this one girl that kept posting stuff that I was like so drawn to her for some reason. And I'm like, gosh, I love her energy. She has like this positivity about her, because I'm not one that's I can't get, every once in a while you can have your woe is me moment, but you can't get stuck there. You got to just keep moving forward, allow yourself to feel what you feel, but then move forward. And so, that was the energy that she was giving off. And I'm like, man, I really like this girl. Well, I connected with her in a private message, and I'm like, this is going to sound really creepy to you, but I don't know why, but I'm just really drawn to your energy. And she basically, in her whole entire journey, she was 4 days ahead of me and everything that we were going through. So come to find out, this is a group that supports women all over the United States and other countries. And she's in Buffalo. I mean, how crazy is that?
Like tens of thousands of people in this. Mm-hmm. And you're like in your next door.
Yeah. And we both are Beachbody users, like, because I love my workouts and my nutrition. She does the same thing. So it's just so crazy to me, as I'm like, okay, we're part of the same company and we're going through this exactly the same, and we live an hour away. So again, another reason why I'm like, I'm going to make friends in this, and I'm going to create opportunity from this experience. So after getting through everything, and I just had started celebrating like my 1 years of everything. Like, okay, 1 year after surgery, 1 year after this, I still was feeling completely lost. Like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're doing so well. You look so great. And really inside, I'm like, man, I feel like I just like lost my purpose. I lost my sense of who I am. Like, between chemo making me feel like blah, the hormone stuff making me feel like blah, I'm like, I feel like I'm a completely different person. Like, Melissa Sherman before cancer was like this go-getter, like nothing's going to stop me. I got my eye on the prize, and here I go. And I felt everything except that afterwards. And I kind of was like, I call it my, can I swear on your podcast? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I call it like a mind fuck. Like, what just happened to me? So I went through quite like a grieving process, like a PTSD process, because it was, okay, I never really allowed myself to feel through that whole thing. And then it was like my adrenaline just like, was gone after I knew I was to the other side. I cried for like a week straight. Couldn't explain why. My poor girlfriends, they show up at my house to like drop off dinner, and I just corner them in my front lawn, just sobbing to them. And they're like, we want to help. What's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't even know. I don't even know why I'm crying. So that whole process, and just like, I have no business to go back to because that closed. I feel completely different. I look completely different. What am I going to do? And my husband, who is a rock, is just like, just stay home and, you'll figure it out. I'm like, okay. So I just slowly am like, catching up on all my shows and doing stuff around the house and enjoying just being like mom. And I absolutely loved that. And I have always loved to be home and be like number one, or whatever my kids need. It's crazy. The older they have gotten, the more I feel like I need to be here. The more I feel like I want to be here. Really just, I'm always like, listen, I'm like an FBI agent. I will always find out where you are, what you're doing, who you're with. Even if it's not in the moment, eventually I will. And I love that nothing really was taking me away from focusing on mom, yet I also still felt like I have a purpose to serve people, and I don't know how that looks. Yeah. And as much as I love following Beachbody, I love working out, I love following a nutrition plan, and to keep myself in good health for the cancer to not recur, I need to keep doing those things. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to coach. I'm going to help other women. And I love that. And I'm still doing that. And I still have a little group that, we all post our sweaty selfies and, share recipes and stuff. But everything's done from behind this. Yeah. Everything is back here. And I'm like, it's just, I still feel like I'm missing something. What am I missing? Mm-hmm. And that's a really hard question to ask yourself when you are like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Should I go back in the office? Should I get like an office job? Should I waitress? Like, what should I do? So I started having lunch with my friend Melissa. And she is the girl that I was on her jewelry team with Premier Designs. And we had always met and, set goals for each other. And we were just big dreamers. Mm-hmm. So we had, connected back through this cancer journey, even after Premier had closed. We had kind of gone separate ways. And she's like, you know what, we should start meeting for lunch. Okay. So we start meeting for lunch, and we start talking about how we miss the times that we would meet together, and we would plan and dream and, have big goals for ourselves. And Melissa was always the type of person that she saw so much potential in me that I didn't see in myself, that it empowered me to be this hard worker, this go-getter. I have that in me, but she helped, I just kind of feel like, bring it to the surface.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we started having lunch together, she's like, let's still do the same thing together, even if it looks different. So bring your Beachbody goals. I'll bring my real estate goals, and we'll just kind of talk and help each other through it. Okay. Well, we had one meeting. That's how far we got. I share my goals, and she starts talking about, she had a team of her husband and two other girls. Um, and she starts sharing with me her personal goals, her team goals, and her current client things that she was working on, and goals that she had for even future clients, things she was doing for past clients. And all of a sudden, I was like, I think I know what's missing for me. People. I need people. I need the interaction. I need that networking. I need the connection. I need to feel like I'm serving people for something that they're going to always remember me for, or making something easier for them or simpler for them, you know? So I didn't say anything to her during this lunch. And I get in the car and I call my husband and I'm like, all right. And he's awesome because he just kind of floats with me with whatever my brain is like thinking at the time, you know? And so I call him and I'm like, okay, what would you think if I were to get my real estate license? And he's like, go for it. That's awesome. I think you'd be great at it. I'm like, no, 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 no. I don't want the husband that supports me through all my crazy thoughts. I want you to really tell me how you feel about this. And he's like, no, that's how I really feel. Like, I think you'd be great at it. Try it. If it's not for you, do something else. I'm like, okay. So I pick up my kids from school. Now my kids loved me not working. So when I had told them I'm going to go get an office job, I'm going to do I need something to do my time, do with my time. They were like, no, we really like you being home. So I picked them up from school and I'm like, guys, what would you think about me becoming a real estate license? Not even a hesitation. They're like, Mom, that would be awesome. So I'm like, okay, husband loves it, kids love it. Now let me ask this friend of mine if she's even looking at joining anybody, having anyone else join her team. So we start talking, and that was November. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this because I did 11, 12 years of the jewelry business with her. I know her heart. I know how she works. I know she has big goals and dreams for herself, same things that I want. And I'm like, what better way to have her really mentor me in this new business? So took the licensing exam, and started with Keller Williams on the Belpano team at the end of March. And I can tell you, with the experiences that I've had so far, I'm on cloud nine. I'm like, I'm out of the house, I'm in an office part-time, and I'm meeting with people. And I'm like, okay, this one client that I have right now, when they find their house, I'm going to cry. Like, that's how emotionally attached I am already, and how I just feel like, okay, I feel this is, I mean, I feel this is where I was meant to be. Not from behind my phone, from behind a screen, like out interacting and just meeting with people. So that's kind of my life in the last year and a half of cancer, COVID, and, starting this new journey with real estate. It's a crazy market right now, I'll tell you that,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
And
so yeah.
You're enjoying it. And that's, it's funny, as you're talking, what just popped into my head is like, you were never meant to be the jeweler for the rest of your life. You and Melissa were brought together in that business to grow the skill set to take this new journey, like, and blast it, which is like such a mind fuck, if you will, because it's like, yeah, but you did that for so many years and learned so much and met so many people, but it was like, yeah, but that was the foundation for you to be, where this new thing is going, which is like such just a cool thing. And one of my current coaching clients right now. She just went through, I'm sure she'd be okay with me sharing this because she shared it on her stuff, but again, it's similar yet different, had a blood clot in her bowel.
Ooh.
And didn't even know it, like put it off, thought it was like, oh, I just maybe have an ulcer from stress, things like that. Well, ended up taking like 20 inches of intestine because it was that bad.
Oh my gosh.
Major surgery. If she had not come in when she did,
Mm-hmm.
we'd be looking at a much different outcome right now.
Yeah.
So long and the short of it, she is doing well. I just met with her a couple days ago, but like drastic measures of the universe saying, slow the fuck down.
Mm-hmm.
You're not as powerful and fierce as you think you are, even though you're amazing. Like, you have to be led by something else. And right now, you're trying to go in this direction and hurdle things that are not meant for you.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it. I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to create this chaos of this cancer, of this thing happening to you to slow you the fuck down so that you can say, okay, I need to sit. I need to just embrace where I'm at. I need to be a mom. I need to be a person. I need to find out who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And then go for it. And it's so interesting because I bring that into my therapy, into my private practice when I'm sitting with clients in that realm of like, we need to sit for a minute and feel, and we need to
Yep.
stop and slow down and take a minute to just embrace where we're at. And we forget we have to do that because life is so busy and crazy and
Mm-hmm.
hard sometimes that
Yep.
we don't want to feel and take a minute to like really slow down.
Yep.
So not that I would want any of your journey to have happened to you. But I think, if there's anything that comes out of it, it's you being able to take that time for yourself and then really refocus that passion to where it needs to be, which
Yep.
like you've done. Amazing.
Yes. Agreed. I also have, I can't believe I didn't even share this as part of the journey, but I'm actually on an advocacy committee as well through the Breast Cancer Coalition of Rochester, because I thought, okay, I have a voice, I need to use it. And how else can I be using this specifically geared with breast cancer? And again, how the universe is just crazy. I actually was supposed to start working as just like a temporary job for a part-time receptionist there. And I thought, oh, this is great for me. This will help me get my foot in the door. Well, you have very vulnerable people coming into that, like they're going through treatment, but they're coming in for classes, whatever. Well, the day before I was supposed to start, Alex came down with COVID. And he was sick for almost 2 weeks with it. So here, how I was supposed to start, well, they ended up hiring somebody else, rightfully so, because, I couldn't come in because I clearly was exposed.
Yeah.
And, and then it just kind of helped to say, okay, here's the universe talking. You're going to focus on the real estate. You're not going to go get a receptionist job. Like, I'm thinking, oh, this is the right next step to go this way. And yet it takes me this way. And so, but I serve on a committee. I'm also a mentor with them. So other women that call in, what they do, they will find your age, your type of cancer, your life pretty much with kids and whatnot. And they'll match you up with someone that has the same, experience as good as they can. And then that mentor will be there for as much as they need. If it's to talk every day, to talk once a week, to just help through surgery and chemo and, get you on the other side. It's an amazing program. So anyways, I'm happy because I feel like that is how I can continue to heal, by giving back and by helping other women that are about to go through this that don't even know it yet.
and it's not a job, that's the experience, right? So I think there is something to that, that somehow the universe was like, no, we're going to cut you off here. Like, this is how you feel, this is who you are, this is your career path, right? And they can intertwine, right? When you can find something that you're passionate about and you can find purpose in it and make it a career, wonderful. But there's also, we forget, we need things in our life that are just hobbies and something beautiful for us to be a part of, that don't necessarily have to be, tied to the career element. So
Yep.
I think that's awesome that you have that. And if you found it, I love it. Wow. Thank you for sharing everything. Thank you.
Well, hopefully that was okay. And I didn't just take you in 26 different directions.
That's exactly what I wanted. It's exactly what it was on your heart. So that's what I wanted, and when I
where's my list of questions? I just want to go through it. I just want to answer questions. And then you're like, no, just share whatever. I'm like, oh, this could be dangerous. I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth.
I love it. Yeah, no, I think, when I post this, there are people in my world that have had breast cancer, that in various different stages of that, people very close to us that have gone through that, and their journey, everybody's looks different. But I think the beautiful part of that is that, like you said, nobody that has been through it could have prepared you for all that you learned and gained and had to process through it, right? But there's a connection there. There's still that sisterhood, brotherhood of going through it, so I think it's a beautiful thing. Obviously I don't understand it in depth of that nature, but I've watched very close people go through it, and I'm so grateful that the folks that I know in my life have had people like you to lean on during their journey, and still do. So with all that said, I know there's going to be people in my world that are going to want to reach out to you for various reasons, just to be in your space, to be in your energy, to follow you on social and all the positivity you're providing. Also, maybe reaching out because they want to personally have contact with you to be a support for them. Or also if they're looking to be in the world of real estate for whatever part of that journey they're on. So where can we find you if we're looking on social or all the things?
So you can find me on Facebook as Melissa Sherman, and you can find me on Instagram under Melissa Sherman 324, I believe. I should probably verify that.
I think that's right. And I've tagged you, so I'll make sure that I'll
yes. Yeah, I'm Melissa _Sherman 324.
Perfect. And do you have a website or anything for the real estate stuff, or would it be simpler for them to contact you via those?
Probably simpler for them to contact me via the Facebook, or they could even text me. That my phone number is listed on Facebook, so perfect. I'm a texter. They can contact me through either one of those. Yeah, I would love to help anybody on their journey. I mean, buying a home is a huge journey, and to be able to be part of someone's story, I'm really excited about that. So
before we wrap up and I ask my last question, I want to ask one more, because I think this is important. You have 3 kids. Not to throw all your biz out there. You are married with 3 children, who one just graduated college, one is graduating high school, and the other is still in high school. And then you have your husband. Now, you mentioned that he was your rock, obviously, through all of this. He was your biggest supporter, your biggest fan. How was, and I know this is probably more than just a 2-minute conversation, but how was that? How did that shift your relationship as a mom and as a wife through this whole journey?
Wow, that's deep. I think
there's probably people that are worried about that because they're going into this journey, right? Or they're coming out of it and they're worried about how this is going to look for them on the other side.
Yeah.
So you could speak to that for maybe a minute or two.
So I really think big picture wise, overall wise, it helped me not always, it helped me say, I'm not the one in control. And I have to let other people take care of me. My kids stepping up, doing all the mom things around the house so that I could recover from surgery. I do everything for my children. And so taking a step back and allowing them to do stuff for mom is very weird, but was needed. And my husband, he is an amazing caretaker. I mean, he did my drains for me and helped me look at myself for the first time. And, you know, I'm just, I was worried, not worried, because we've been together since high school. Like, we're very obviously open with each other, but I was worried of like, how are you still going to look at me? Am I still going to be attractive to you? And so those are legit things that even a year and a half later, I'm still working through. Not so much him, because he is like, I look at you, I see you, no matter what looks different on you. And you're alive and you're here. And that to me is what's more important than anything else. But me personally, I still am working through just, well, I look different, I feel different, you know. But overall, I think it was the best decision to have him involved as much as he was. I know other women that shared with me that they didn't want their husband involved, and they had their mom or their best friend come over. And I think that it's extremely important to do what is best for you and best for what you feel like in your relationship, with your children, with your husband, with your spouse. But I had him very involved, whether he wanted to be or not. That's what I needed from him. So hopefully that answers your question.
No, it does. I think the main takeaway for me in that is that it's going to change you. It's going to change your family, but you get to choose how it changes you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I think I heard, is that you got to choose how you guys evolved as a family and evolved as a mom and as children and siblings, watching their mom struggle, but seeing the strength in it, which is a beautiful thing. And two, your children watching you say, I don't have control here, right? Like, I need to slow down. I need your help. So they had to take some ownership of that, but also seeing the strength and bond between you and your husband, being able to, attack this problem, attack this issue together, and not like it completely, deteriorating you guys, which is amazing. So a lot of people don't, unfortunately this does break relationships, trying to get through that struggle, but knowing that there's hope and knowing that you can lean on each other is huge for people on the other side of this. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. I tried not to cry through it. I don't know if you can tell.
No, I've been like tearing up throughout your whole entire journey, because I'm just like, right? There are pieces that, are parallel for each couple or each family, that like you see people go through hard times. And even though the hard times are different, because we're different families and we're different people and personalities and lifestyles, but the struggle is real. People struggle, right? So like just the main connection of the struggle is there, and you're like, oh, you can feel it. So I appreciate all that you.
Absolutely.
The last thing I will ask you to wrap it up is, if there's anything, and it doesn't have to be about your, excuse me, cancer journey, it can be just anything in your entire journey as a human being, but what is the one nugget of information or thing you want to just release into the universe, that takeaway for people to remember?
I think I'm just going to go with my gut, and what I constantly feel like through all things life, what I try and focus on is there's always a purpose from pain, and there's always an opportunity for other people to learn from your experience. And those two things truly have helped me through this journey, have helped me even when business isn't strong or marriage isn't strong, or, staying positive, working through everything, anything, because you will get through anything that you're going through. It's not going to stay like that forever. And, and maybe a new purpose will reveal itself from pain that you're going through now. And just, with the whole experience and opportunity, it's like there are people out there that need us. And just like we need other people, and how we can help people is by creating that opportunity from what we've gone through. Whether it's good, could be great things, or it could be not so great things. So it doesn't always have to be a diagnosis or something negative. It could be positive, but just, I think those are just how I try and live my life. And, when you're on a high, capitalizing on that and loving that moment, because, life is always like this and like this. So you're either like working towards something, feeling great about life, and know that something's gonna crash, and then you're gonna work right, but it's that constant thing. So
yeah. So share the good, share the bad.
Yep.
I love it. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
Thank
we'll
you.
continue to share each other's journey and just like, lift each other up, even if it's not in this way and not talking all the time, but being able to just, share each other's stories and positive vibes to each other. So I appreciate your time today.
Well, I appreciate you asking me. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, I will post all the ways that you can find Melissa, and have an awesome day.
Bye. Thanks, Erin.